Hi, I'm Luke. My pronouns are they, them. I am a game designer. That's mostly what I do, I guess. Once I was a professional GM for children, but no longer. Um, yeah, and I'm really excited to be here with you all and hang out and do some spooky stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Wildwoods Games. Judd, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, thank you. My name is Judd, he, him, and I'm a, I don't, wow, that's like giving a title is really difficult. I guess I'm a Ronin librarian turned sometimes podcaster, sometimes game designer, writer, and for a living, I'm doing prison education. And it's nice to be here. It's nice to be back. I'm glad that Luke is here to help because I desperately needed it last week, and I'm really glad to have you here, Luke. It's really nice. And how are you doing, Lauren?
Oh,
Lauren?
well, hi, yes, I'm Lauren. I use she, they pronouns, and I am very stoked to be here. Defund the police, Black Lives Matter, and all that jazz. I'm very pumped to have two volunteers this time around. I've wanted to play with Luke for the longest time, beyond when we first met at a Big Bad Con a year ago and face-to-face meetings were a thing. And yeah, no, I'm just very keen to fuck up the powers that be and be a thief and a necromancer and do some magic and stuff and all that kind of jazz. Do I? I guess like I should throw it open to what we did last time. Um, which from memory, we were in a sort of like New Orleans-esque town with like a ruby lighthouse that was casting very eerie red light across the whole town. And we, of course, hold up in the quarter where we would be the least suspects to like problems and stuff. In I forget the quarter exactly, but we came across a ghost that took on the body of a snake, and that was fun. In the townhouse that we were trying to hole up in to catch some Zeds. And we then went on to try and obtain some necromantic goods for spells and stuff at the local mausoleum that was run by local ghouls. They were super nice, and as far as I can remember. Yeah. Oh, that too. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah, totally. So I thought it would be fun to tell the volunteers we've run out of coin in an unfamiliar city and that we've taken to a busy thoroughfare to perform to kick off this like particular adventure. So we should take time to ask questions to set the stage and then begin play by addressing ourselves to the passers-by.
How you feeling, Luke? What do you got?
I suppose my first. Let me turn this back on you, Strash. My question would be: are you still within? I have a very dim memory from last session that there was like Ruby was part of like a number of city states of a like similarly like Mediterranean and jeweled theme.
Yeah.
Are y'all still in that kind of like overall political landscape, or are you like beyond that now?
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Like emerald, diamond, topaz.
I think this one might be called Garnet. Yeah, and I think it's built on top of a cliff. Over like a very like there's like a long fertile valley that is full of farmland, and then like a very steep cliff on top of which the city is built. You would imagine that there would be a bunch of like wealth inequity and gross hierarchical bullshit going on. You would imagine correctly. And I think the cliff and the city is on the western side of the valley, so that the light of the setting sun washes everything in this like bloody kind of like purple color that like is where the city got its name.
Mm. And I think their funerary traditions are about birds, like laying the bodies out so birds come and eat you. And based on where you are in the hierarchy is where you can lay your body out, and that draws different types of birds. So like the rich like to be eaten by like birds of prey and like big birds that they consider warrior like and
Noble birds.
noble birds, and whereas poor folk have to get eaten by like pigeons and seagulls. Yeah.
I love it. It's so cute.
Yeah, I think there is maybe a custom where whatever feathers the birds like shed as they're eating the body then get gathered up and like by alchemists like transformed into some kind of like more enduring material, like something like like a crystal or like a stone that
Yeah.
are then like kept in the family shrine as like
Yeah.
kind of a remembrance of the departed. And
I
again,
love
you
it.
don't want to have like a shitty little pigeon feather in your family shrine. You want to have like a dope giant eagle feather or something
Right.
I love
for the
it.
prestige.
So perhaps like this opening shots of like us performing tricks, and it's like our hats are full of feathers, because like that's the currency you donate to folks for their good work. We're like,
And you put a
oh,
feather in their hat.
yeah,
Oh.
exactly. It's like we can't eat this, but yeah, sorry, go
Thanks.
Stras.
Mm.
Well, if the albatrosses like you, then sure, you can live in those cliffs.
I don't know what your thought is, Judd.
Yeah.
My inclination would be to say, I think technically speaking, if we interpret city broadly, I think the city straddles the top and bottom of the cliff. I think there is like a town where all of the farmers live at the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah.
And then the city proper at the top of the cliff. Like you got to be rich to live there. They
Yeah.
don't let just anyone live in the real city. But the poor people can come and visit and see the gardens.
Right.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Oh, good question. I feel like, well, I'm most interested in stealing coin from rich folks, so I think you go to the rich area.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the noble folk very often wear helmets and masks that have bird motifs and birds of prey. Like their bodyguards have, you know, hawk and eagle motifs to their face masks and their their spears. Um, Probably like out on the street at this time are probably uh, not merchants, but maybe like merchants agents who are out doing the purchasing and you know doing the running around, but with enough time and enough kind of leisure to stop for a show if it's good enough. Do you think you two are grabbing their attention, or are they going by? Like, what are you two doing to get the money?
Oh heck yeah, go for it, yeah.
The world's worst necromancer. Oh. Yeah, um let me ask a clarifying question to you, Strash. So like obviously, you know, like this is it's not bustling, but it's like it's a busy street. There are people going by. There are all manner of people here, right? There are probably old people and children and like parents and like young, you know, there's like people of all ages, people of all demographics. Like, who do you look to as a like, here is the person I will start with? Is it someone old? Is it someone young? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is it a non-binary person? The richest person on the street. Mm. Young, dumb, rich. Right, okay.
That's very fitting for a necromancer.
Judd, how do we think the people of this city feel about death? Like, is this a culture that like welcomes it? Is this a culture that is like literally tries to like ward and fight it off? Like, what's our like
Yeah.
cultural value set here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, yeah, I think it's kind of a live fast, die young culture. I think they see it as an ascendancy to a higher place. I think that they think that if you're brought by the right bird, you will go to an even higher city above this one. So it's seen as kind of like a celebration. It's like, going to a better place.
Yeah. So how do they react? I think he like the young man like takes off his mask. And I feel like one of the crops that is really common here, particularly in the upper city, is like pomegranate trees.
Mm.
And I think they make like a dye or like a makeup out of pomegranate. And so I think he has like really intense like purplish red eyeliner and really intense like lip paint on. And yeah, and so I think like he takes off his mask and he like tears open, like the front of his like expensive tunic to like bare his heart. And just like drops to his knees with his arms like wide spread, like, yes, death, take me. And his guards are all kind of like not really sure what to do or think. Looking around to be like, has he like seen an attacker who like we should be dealing with? What's going on here exactly?
Oh God. So I think like so our premise for coming here was like earn some coin, right? But our display has attracted perhaps someone a bit more fanatic than we're prepared for. um I think with this person like sort of bears himself to us, like what sign do you give me, Necromancer, that you're like, this isn't like do we need to do anything here? Like oh, I see. Well, well, we could totally bring in this poor fellow to be like, ah, you have been called upon by the birds, obviously, and sort of we'll get to that later when it
Yeah, he's now like he started weeping in like
oh God.
ecstatic religious terror, and he's crying out like, butcher birds, ancestors, descend from the heavens and feast upon my flesh. I think his house is the emblem of their house is a shrike.
Oh yeah,
And
totally.
so that's like the particular like bird iconography that's going on there. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, but they also like take their prey and stab them on thorn bushes. I think they're a nouveau riche house, Strash. They'd run out of all the good birds.
I'm sure I could perform like like I am the like bird shrike who can stab you and like that kind of thing but like not really because it's all stage magic and stage knives and stuff. Or yeah, what angle do you want to take Necromancer for like this the street trickery? How comfortable are you with it?
So can I ask a question? I understand that you like tried to do something and it didn't work, but I don't really get a feel for what it looked like, right? Like what? Okay.
Oh, cool.
Strash, You're muted on the stream. I can't hear you on the stream. Yeah.
Ooh.
Let me see. Let's try
We are
that.
working on it,
Can you hear
folks.
me now?
You deal with the delay.
Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How are we doing, stream?
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Yep.
All right. Well, bad news. My intro and everything else probably went out the window. All right. Well, but just keep rolling. Cool. So, my necromancy is not. It's not obvious. It's like I said, the majority of my magic so far, at least from the spells that I'm able to read, are either perception based or they're based on a ghost doing something for me. So it's actually very subtle. I'm about as much of a subtle thiefy person as our thief is. So there isn't actually a lot of pomp and circumstance, right? Like, there is no fire turning blue. There is no massive gestures of the hands. There's no... like, it's just, I command the spiritual entity that is bound to my soul to go forth and do a thing, and they do, but they're unseen by anybody that doesn't have any form of, like, mystic sight, right? Like, only wizards and necromancers can detect them. So there isn't really a whole lot to see here. I commanded them to go forth and draw secrets forth from this person, and something went awry, but it was like, yeah, it was... It's not visually very impressive, I'm sorry.
Not visually, perhaps, but Judd, what do we... I feel like probably the passage of a ghost leaves some kind of, like, sensory impression. Even if that's just that, like, people nearby get goosebumps.
Oh, maybe. That is unclear. We do know that they're basically a plasmic entity, but as far as I can tell, that means that they exist on, like, a different sensory plane. I don't know that they're obvious. Yeah, they don't necessarily manifest in any way that we know.
Cool. I just wanted to get that. Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah. I don't know, Lauren, how do we want to play this? I don't have any moves for lying. Like, I think lying and play acting is just us role playing. There's nothing magical about it. So how do you want to spin this? Do you want to? You know what? F it. I'm gonna play this up. I guess if we're gonna be street charlatans, let's be street charlatans. So yeah, I think I step forward and if this kid drops, I raise my hands to show that I'm not carrying a weapon, I'm not intending any harm, and I speak to them and I say, like, to the guards, I say, fear not, it just so happens that I have the gift, so I might be able to perceive what type of death it is that comes, and if it's an unworthy death, perhaps we can avoid it and ensure that they get taken to whatever appropriate shrikey city in the clouds there is. And if it is a worthy death, then you can, prepare to meet it on your own terms. How does that sound?
It sounds good. Luke, what do you think? What is our guy?
I think
what's
the
his reaction to that?
I think the guards look suspicious to start with. But
Yeah.
as soon as you get to, like, and if it's an unworthy death, we can do something about that. They're like, all right, you understand. Like, this isn't, you're clearly a foreigner, but, like, you know something at least about what's going on around here. So they're on board. I think they clear a little bit out of the way, and they're willing to let you approach. Yeah, I think the young man is just, like, he's continuing to, like, rend his clothes and, like, kind of, like, look up at the sky and beseech the shrikes to, like, strike him down and take him up to bird heaven.
You know what? I'm going to attempt to exert myself empathetically to find out what sort of death this young man wants. And Lauren, anytime you want to filch these people's pockets or do anything ninja-like, you let me know.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I can filch and try and, like, do some sleight of hand or trickery to summon birds. If you want some, like, breadcrumbs in your pocket, they can be there.
Amazing. Can you do that? Do you have a move for that? Because that would be cool.
I'm sure I totally could like sort of put some breadcrumbs in your pocket if you would like to follow through on some kind of ritual in this town.
Sure. Yeah. You let me know what you need to roll to make that work and give it a
Yeah.
spin. But I would love to see how that works.
Yeah,
Or if it works.
I think it's just like sort of my thieves and performance slides. I think I can make small objects appear / disappear and simply pass through other objects or even living things. Provided it goes okay on the dice. I think my filtering powers are a 50-50 from my stats.
Good luck.
Yeah, so like my performance lights are nimble plus patient, and my nimble is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it'd be like a 50-50 for for some nibble sleight of hand if you would like some breadcrumbs in your pocket.
Yeah, give it a
spin.
spin. Let's see if we can summon some birds with
Sweet.
breadcrumbs.
Excellent. I will roll 1d6 in the chat. Hang on. / roll 1d6. Oh, I do it.
Nice.
So if I pull up my filch list, take a look at the specifics. Okay, so on a hit, I tell my volunteers that I do in fact accomplish the task of putting breadcrumbs in my companion's pockets, and ask any remaining questions I have about the audience or a victim's reaction. In addition, choose one of the following, up to as many as your roll, which is 2, so 1. I think I've been practicing to make this look as natural, since I was a child. And I think I've also been practicing to make this as quick as it looks since I was a child. So it's very fast and quick as I deposit breadcrumbs into your pocket.
Oh, so you just walk by and like your hand casually like pats me on the back, and like as it sweeps down, like breadcrumbs appear in my pockets.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Everyone else is looking at the hand on the back and misses the other hand.
Totally.
Very cool. So what kind of birds show up when I raise my hands to the heavens with some breadcrumbs in them?
Or seeds or whatever you need or bits of
appropriate bird food.
I guess meat would be appropriate for like predatory birds.
A good bird.
Oh, so meat, huh? Okay. So if I have a few niblets of meat in my hands when I raise them to the heavens, what sort of birds descend?
Wouldn't it be interesting if they were pigeons, though, Judd?
If you both agree, it is pigeons.
That would be interesting.
What about, like, the third category of birds? You know, we've introduced, there's, like, the lowly birds
Yeah.
of the field who eat grain, and they're bad, and we don't like them.
Right.
The noble birds of the air who, like, hunt and strike with their talons. And then I think there's, like, the other category of birds who grub for worms and who scavenge at dead bodies and are kind of like
ravens.
A little bit, ravens and vultures and like robins, insectivores. I think a lot of them.
Woodpeckers.
Carrying birds is very cool.
Yeah, and so I think it's like a bunch of. If you're on board with this, Judd, I think it's a bunch of like opportunistic scavengers who are like meat that I don't have to pick off a rank corpse.
Yeah.
It's just like there to be haha.
I think there's definitely like a really strong trickster story cycle in Garnet for these birds who take what they can and like you said, they're outside of that cycle. Like they're
birds of the field who like stole ?
Right.
Some like outside place in the pantheon or like whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
I think I have a name for bird heaven too.
Oh.
where people go when they die. I think it's called the City of Dusk Pinions.
Oh, nice.
All right, I can dig it.
Nice.
Cool. So I raise my hands, and these medium rank birds, the crows and the ravens, they're the ones that show up. Is that what I hear?
Yeah, it's a bunch of rooks.
Oh, okay.
So they're like kind of shitty looking ravens, and they're a bit like bold. They're a bit balding, and their feathers are a bit askew. They make this very like ugly kind of like croaking noise. I'm like, Judd, what do you think the most unlucky number in the city is?
Let's go with 3.
Unusual. I like it.
Yeah, so I think like 3 birds alight, and then there's a beat, and then a 4th bird alights.
Oh.
But the beat is long enough that like the omen is muddy.
Nice.
Yeah, it's what it is 3 birds alight, beat, 4th bird alights, beat, bird leaves. And so it's like, at one point there were 4 birds, but mostly there were 3 birds.
I think, of course, I shoot a look to my thief companion and of like, my necromancer companion, and of like, oh, like, is this a bad omen? Should I be concerned?
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to interpret the omen for this young lad who's bared their chest and has some rather antsy guards around them, and I think that I think what I'm gonna say is that the future balances on the edge of a knife. It could be positive, it could be negative, and more guidance is required, but that of course means that we're going to have to do a more in-depth oracle, and in order to do that, of course, but like, that's expensive. It takes special ingredients and like nonsense like that. So would you be interested? I couldn't possibly impose upon you, but would you be interested?
Oh dear.
I'm sorry, I did not realize that we were going to be doing a scam on stream, apparently.
Oh, dear.
Thank you for this, starter, Lauren.
I apologize.
All right, Stras, roll engagement, please.
Right? Grifters.
Judd, what do we think? I feel like this young man is dumb enough and rich enough that he's on board.
I think he is. I think that's what we've learned about him so far. Absolutely.
All right, so we've got 2 volunteers in agreement.
Yeah, so I think he stands up and looks like a little bit embarrassed about the fact that he's like torn his shirt off in like anticipation of like imminent death, and then it hasn't arrived. Because I think a bit of a crowd has gathered. He kind of like looks a little bit embarrassed. You can see him blushing, but he like quickly puts his mask back on, so no one can tell. And then he's like, "Yes, I would be delighted to receive both of you at my family villa, where we can discuss the matter in more depth." And I think he like gestures for one of the guards to go and like, I think there's musicians or something playing on a stage nearby. So he gestures for the guard to like go and pay the musicians to play everyone's favorite song to distract everyone with his generosity and also with music.
Nice.
Perfect. So I have a question. Do we want to call the scenario there? Do we feel like at this point we go to his house, we finish the scam, we collect some coin, or do you feel like there's fun obstacles that we want to jump to in that scenario?
Doesn't that depend on how sticky the thief's fingers are?
Excellent, Lauren. So, so volunteers.
A noble house.
Oh,
Right.
God.
What in this house is tempting?
And I think the other thing about Garnet is that they've got a terrible system for guarding the walls, and that is that the best manors are actually attached to the wall, and so like each noble has to like each section of the wall is literally guarded by like a totally separate force. It is a terrible system, but it's what they've got. And so like you see that this guy is leading, like his guards are leading you to like a corner manor. Like it's in a corner of the walls. They must be rich beyond reasoning. But if you want to do a quick reading, get some coin, and get out of there, if you want to be the type of thief who is forgotten, then you can totally do that, and we'll just go to the next scene. But if you want to go in there and go for the big money,
the big play,
make the big play, then we can keep going. But it's totally up to you. Like there's no judgment here.
Not at all. But if we're like being very much invited into the like dragon's den, and there is like a lot of dragon jewelry and dragon riches to be off with, then it's very within my principles and values to abscond with riches and jewels from the dragon and disseminate that to other folks who might have other uses for it. So I'm on board, but how does my necromancer companion feel?
I am not on board, but as we answered some questions, you do occasionally dine and dash and leave me with the bill. So I believe the phrase that I used at the time when we talked about our characters was... like when you travel with a thief, there are some things that you learn to expect. So I'm expecting a smooth entry, a pleasant distraction while I, talk to them. But if we walk out and you happen to have a whole bunch of jewels, that'll happen. So I don't know. That'll come down to you, and I am not going to judge you. That is the name of this game, is the Thief and the Necromancer. If you're not being a thief, something's wrong. So.
And if things get bloody, you may come out with like some blood.
Research components! That's right! Let's do it! If things don't become bloody, the spawning circumstance of choosing Nest is definitely going to get bloody, so let's rock.
Yeah, I thought I'm not opposed to trying to abscond with some trinkets of value that we could give back to the community potentially.
Cool.
Yeah, so I imagine, Judd, and you tell me.
Yeah.
I imagine that this place is very much in the model of like a Tuscan villa.
Yeah.
But like with a wall around it. I think all of the buildings here are made of this same like dusky red sandstone that is like also what the cliff is made out of. And I think in the like central courtyard of the villa there is like an orchard. And it's like, do we know what season it is? Has that been established?
You get to decide. We had kind of a generic, not snowy time last time, but we're also coastal, so it could be anything.
Great. Okay, I think it's summertime. And so the fruit trees in the orchard are all groaning, and there's like a bunch of pomegranate trees. There's also like ruby grapefruit. There's like cherries. There's like nectarines. It's very much like a strong, color scheme being worked.
Orange
here.
and reds, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then I think over the like mantelpiece of the main house in the villa, there is a carving of a shrike's head made out of this same like red, ruby sandstone that has just been like smeared over years and years with pomegranate juice until you can only see little like flecks of the stone where it's worn off. Most of it is just various shades of like red and dried, like purple and dried brown that looks like really gross and very much like a shrike that is just like drenched in old blood.
Cool. Love it. I think the other thing that you notice when you walk in is a pet parrot. Like a really, like one of those just really smart ones. I think the guards like stay away from it and give it like clearance. And it doesn't talk initially. It makes creaking noises that as you walk through the house, you realize that like it's imitating the creaking noises of the doors opening and closing throughout the house. And that's the noises it makes at you. And you hear the guards mutter something about the Chamberlain, and that's what they call it. And apparently it was pair bonded with the patriarch of the house who died. And now the bird fucking hates every living thing in the world. Yeah, it just like, it definitely like watches you and like flies along like room to room as you're, put somewhere to read the young noble's fortune while he gets his new clothes together.
What color is the parrot, Judd? Do you have?
I think it's
feeling?
got to. I think it's got to stay with your red and orange. I think it's got to be like, yeah,
It's like a macaw
red
of
and
some kind.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I could try and like
absolutely.
make bud or like if that would help.
You can
You
try.
I was gonna say I don't know that we can sell that bird, but it's up to you, Thief.
If you've got a roll to make, I'd love to see it.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Do you have the ability to make friends with birds? Because I don't. I can terrify the bird.
I lived with an African gray for about a year, so like that's where this bird, this inspiration for this bird is coming, and either they like you and it's a lovely, lovely roommate, or they hate you and it's a monster. And,
Having also
anyway,
had roommates with birds. Mhm.
yes, yeah. This one happened to like me and not like my wife, so we have very different opinions on Charlie Bird. But anyway, this is the Chamberlain. This is not Charlie. I think Luke's overlay still says that he's John Harper. So.
Oh no! Oh no, it can't.
That's me, John Harper.
No, it can't be. It says it's. Oh, I see. I will fix it. Carry on.
All right, everyone.
So
just
if at any point, Luke,
imagine the
yeah.
most dangerous bird you can possibly imagine. Like, imagine how dangerous a bird could be.
I will get it fixed. I promise. Thank you for the.
And then don't worry. Later on, I'll do the other John Harper jamming trick. It's all good. He has 2 stats.
I could try and approach the bud with grace and calm as we enter this premises to try and make friends with it.
Fixed.
De-escalate.
If there's a roll you can make, I'd love to see it. These birds bond oddly. No one understands what the fuck they do. They just 1 second they're screeching at you, and the next it's masticating food and on your shoulder. They're really weird.
And just pooping uncontrollably because they don't have muscles. They don't have muscles for that.
They don't. Okay, I'm just gonna check my grace and calm stats. Let's see. Okay.
Oh shit! So Saintguard said we should steal the bird.
I'm just saying, I don't know that we can sell it, but that's never stopped the thief before.
Who cares if you can sell it? You can be your new like heist partner.
What? No!
Look out, bird.
Oh yes, totally. Love that. I want a bird.
And/or a bird has at least a measure of blood in it.
That's also true.
Don't make me snarf wine. Don't you do it.
This I might be convinced about.
That was my goal. I came here to make Judd snuff wine.
I want a bird friend. So if I attempt a grace and calm roll, that's like 50-50 again. So
you're juggling those odds on your own.
Okay,
I'm not stealing things. I'm only lying.
I'd like to just clarify, like where in the chronology of things we are, right? So like, so the thief is trying to befriend the bird at the same time as the necromancer is doing
like a seance. I'm going to pull them into like a parlor. I'm going to tell them that this is going to require a great deal of focus. I am actually planning to unveil my necromantic senses, because if there is a bird that is bonded to a patriarch that has died, I might be able to actually talk to said patriarch. And that is a thing I can do. So that's my plan. I'm going to be distracting people by putting on a little bit of a show, right? So Judd asked me, how does my magic work? Usually it is absolutely invisible, but this is one of the times when I'm actually going to be trying to play it up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's happening, and at the same time, in like the corridor outside.
Oh yeah, I'm like, God, bud, I understand this culture. I'm gonna try and like seduce this bird.
Let me try and relate to you.
I'll relate, yeah.
Let's
totally.
like talk openly with each other.
Or like give me some food and be like you know, like make some bird sounds and
We'll see how it goes.
yeah. Okay. Oh, I got a.
You make it.
I make it
Amazing.
Holy shit! I wasn't prepared for this.
What tune do you hum to the bird that like makes it kind of start dancing and jump on your shoulder and like cluck in your
Oh.
ear.
It's totally like a song from my great grandmother or like another deceased like sort of great like sort of ancestor that's like
Yeah.
passed down, and it conveys a lineage of ancestry that my necromancer thief friend isn't privy to, but is one
Yeah.
that I carry with me, like my dragon tattoo on my back kind of thing. So it probably is a bit fiery and a bit like lower in bass and a bit smoky. But I sort of convey like the tune of my family
Yeah.
quietly to my chagrin.
The bird chirps like a fluting, kind of airy like counterpoint.
Oh yeah.
And lists all of its many noble ancestors and the great deeds that
totally.
they have done.
Yeah, and there's one point where like the song starts to get faster, and the bird like puts out its wings and like starts bobbing its head as the song gets faster, and like,
Oh yeah, there's like this going on.
yeah. It's totally dancing to your lovely ancestral song. That's awesome.
And if I'll invite it onto my shoulder if I can, and like we'll just keep it with me and sort of stroke her right here.
Yeah. It jumps up on your shoulder and clicks in your ear, and you have made a friend.
And then it starts trying to climb up your hair and get on top of your head, which is a bit
totally.
uncomfortable.
Oh, you've
You
let
can
the
feel
bird
the,
out
like,
of the
nails
cage at
scratching
this
on
point.
you.
Totally. But how is your seance going, Necromancer?
Well, let's take a look. So I think that I'm going to unveil my necromantic senses, and I think that I will interrogate some of the local. I will look at the local spirits and also potentially at the boy. So let me exert myself here. My exertion should be. Oop. For some reason, I'll fix it later. Let me do this. I need to get a 4 or less. Hey, I do it. So when I unveil my necromantic senses, I can ask questions pertaining to necromancy and the like. So I do that before I exert myself either mentally, which is like reading a sitch basically, or empathetically, where I get to read people. And when I unveil my necromantic senses, I'm going to ask questions that necromancy can tell me, which is, are there ghosts in this house?
The answer is obviously yes, Judd. But like, what
Right,
kind, what
yeah.
kind of ghost is there in
Yes.
this house?
Right.
I have a thought.
Okay.
I wonder if the Patriarch's ghost might not still be hanging around possessing his husband.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And so this kid's like remaining dad is like locked in this deep kind of like malaise and like general kind of depression, which everyone assumes is like, you know, just is just about like grieving, but actually a bunch of that erratic, like Hamlet-esque grief behavior is because there are now two spirits occupying the one body
Yeah.
and not necessarily sharing very well.
Yeah. Love it.
So does this person come? So clearly, I see this person at some point in the current
Yeah, I think
scene. Do they come to the seance? Are they brought there? Do they attend? Do they sit unmoving in a chair? What's the
I think you
what's the
see them
vibe?
out the window. I think he's out in the orchard. And I think he's decided that one of the trees is wrong. And so is like pruning it like very aggressively. With like, I don't think they use swords in this city. I just don't think that's a thing they have. I think that, you know, everyone has like spears, and then for close-up work, they have like gloves with like taloned blades on the end of their fingers.
Edward
Love it.
Scissorhands ho! All right.
Yeah, basically. And so I think he's just got these like horrible like gauntlet knife hands, and it's just like lopping away kind of like very chaotically at like a small pomegranate bush that isn't producing as much as he'd like. But yeah, you can see a like weird trailing like like it's not the trail of like, oh, there is a ghost riding this person. It is like more blended than that.
Okay.
Mm.
In a way that I don't think you've ever seen before.
Oh, okay.
Like this is unprecedented in your experience as a like junior necromancer.
I was gonna say, not to throw shade on the junior necromancer, but
let's. I am the worst necromancer. Okay, I did not even become a full necromancer. I ran away before that happened. All right. So I think the two questions that I have is like one, since you know their eyes are upon me, I feel like so walking through this house, right? Like we've got this bird head with like pomegranate juice and stuff smeared on it. But like looking around, is this the house of a warlike family? Do they have like a lot of weapons on display? Are there a lot of people in armor and paintings, that kind of thing? Or is this the house of like a merchant family or something like that? Like the wealthy who are in the wealthy section of town, but not necessarily like fighters per se.
Judd?
I mean, I think they're ready for violence. I don't think they're. I don't think the city has been to war in a while.
Hunters, maybe?
Let me rephrase that. So like if you're a knight, you are
Right.
getting tithes and stuff, but you're spending a lot of your like free time training. So like
Got
when
it.
you're walking into this house, does it look like the sort of place in the courtyard that has like a section roped off for like footwork and weapons? Are there racks? Is there armor on stands? Like I'm reading like how day to day the fight is, right? Like are we talking about they painted a bunch of people in armor because they're not fighters but they want to claim that, or are they the kind of people that actually put in the footwork?
Oh, I have a thought.
Go for it.
I have a thought. No, the training ground is underground. I think in this city, honor dueling is like a really big, really rare, but really like long-standing and serious tradition between the noble houses. And you know, like it's very much in the way that like birds will fight over time, right? So like everyone first gets like really decked out, really absurd and dramatically, and like postures at each other, trying to get them to back down that way, right? But then like, you know, but like
Oh, there's a
maybe-
dance. There's totally a dance.
There's totally there's a
dueling.
like capoeira style. It's like a martial arts dance like thing, and so there's that, and like you're not allowed to touch each other, but the objective is to make the opponent flinch. And like if that doesn't resolve it, then you put on the like talon, the claw hands, and you fucking go at each other until someone's dead.
I can't wait for the scene where Necromancer is doing this, and I'm on the sidelines with my bird going, yes, like do it.
Okay.
And really, probably what happens most often is both people die, because you put knives on both people's hands.
I think that would be very superficial
That's-
cuts. I would say both people bleed profusely. I'm not sure that both people like. Do
Okay.
they actually die, Judd? Like you get to make that call. I can't make that call.
I mean, not all the time, but I think it's a worry.
Okay.
It is a
Yeah.
concern.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're like
In particular, if
scalpel-
somebody like sticks a hand in, you're so close that the other person's probably
Yeah.
going to take him with them.
Yeah, and like they're scalpel like blades, and there's a lot of like important veins and arteries pretty close to the surface.
Yep.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, and I think this house is really aggressive about the knife part of the ritual,
So
not so much the diplomacy or the posturing or the dancing part. Like they're just really into like the killing bit.
I feel
well,
like it's showing through, like when the bird lands on my shoulder and like its talons dig in that bit. I'm like, oh, they're like really sharp, but like,
Yeah.
They've been like dipped in metal or something.
oh yeah, totally. It's a little
Cap.
like,
Nice.
claws.
we have established that there are alchemists. Birds with metal talons are not far
Totally
fetched here.
possible.
All right, so let me extend my necromantic senses a little bit further. Do I feel like I might be able to get a read on this amalgamated spirit mass from here, or would I have to get closer?
I think you can get a read from here. What do you think?
Yeah, not a good like. I think any like a normal ghost you could get everything probably at this distance. I think you can get some from here, but I think if you wanted like a really detailed look,
I want a very specific question, which is
yeah, you have to get close.
I want to know what this ghost that is possessing this significant other wants, wishes, dreams, or fears, which is a question that I can get from my empathetic senses, but I feel like reading a ghost, I've already unveiled my necromantic senses, right? So, like, if you look at this scene from, like, the Lord of the Rings, like, when you put the ring on, like, the weird necromantic world, right? Yeah, like, I've opened up all 6 of my, like, glowing green eyes, and, like, Gurn stands at my shoulder and whispers secrets in my ear kind of thing, right? It looks way more impressive. That's, like, the anime version of the show. Like, the much more realistic version, I'm just, like, I see in your future as I'm, like, mixing things up and scrambling around a board, like, an important duel, and I'm like, but there is a sense that someone has not ascended fully to a city. There is a sense that there is grief in this house. Am I right? And I'm like, is someone loved? Someone of your blood that has died recently. You know, squiggle, squiggle, squiggle.
Classic cold reading. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me. Saints comment. Noble's literally
actually,
peacocking.
Here's what I will say also, Stras, because I think there is another thing in this house.
Yeah, bring it on.
That isn't a ghost.
Oh,
but that your you know, by definition, and your necromantic senses are also wizardly senses.
They are actually, yes.
Yeah, and so I think there is a thing in this house made invisible by magic. I think it is up on the wall. Because I think up on the wall in this room, like directly opposite to you and behind the young man, is like the house. This is how we tie back in that whole conversation we had, is like the house's ceremonial like dueling outfit. And so it's like, you know, the ancestral pairs of knives and like the dope hat he wears and like the, you know, all that shit. And I think you see... I think normally the talons are only on the fingers. I think normally your thumbs are like fucking whatever, like, you know, they're just like not part of it. But I think you can see that on this set of gauntlets, there are thumbs and they're really sharp and nasty, and they have been made invisible by magic. Which is to say, these are a bunch of dishonorable cheats.
Of course they are. How else did they become a newly noble house?
Yeah. The best kind of talon knife to stab in someone is one that they can't see.
All right. I can dig it.
That's a good approach. The thief is paying attention.
Just thinking.
I dig it.
Awesome. Can I? Okay. I'm gonna make the roll to see if I can empathetically read the ghost from here. So let me take care of that. Boop. No. The answer is no. Oh, actually, that's not true.
I was gonna say, what happened
on a miss, I can ask my question, but people, but the person that I'm reading, so in this case, the spirit and I guess 2 people that I'm reading, I can ask a question, but I'm being calculating, not empathetic, and they can tell. So I reach out and I actually, like, with my necromantic senses, I try to get a feel for that ghost. The question I'm asking is, what is the ghost of the father? Hope, want, wish, dream, or fear? I guess if it's ors, I guess what I'm hoping for is what do they want? Why are they sticking around? Why are they here? What is this amalgamated mess that has happened and this horrible depression it has invoked in this other father, I guess, patriarch of the house? I don't know how to even, like, what their appropriate, are they a noble? Are they a knight? What's their title?
Did you have something, Luke?
Mr. Kratz, like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, Wall Lord.
Great.
Yeah.
So this depressed wall lord, what does the ghost within them want? Why are they still here? Help me out. Oh, volunteers.
I feel like, Judd, there's an obvious play we could make here.
Yeah.
Which is like, they wanted, like, they're still here because they're in love.
Oh.
And it's
Aw.
like, is that the most interesting thing we could do?
Right. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we can do something a little different. Because if they were in love, I mean, that is complicated, right? Because they stayed, but they can't really be with the person they're in love with, if it's even him. And they're creating this kind of cycle of grief and misery in them. Or at the end of the day, these two husbands wanted something really different. And so now what's causing this kind of grief and problem is that the dead patriarch wanted one thing and the living one wanted another, and they
God.
can't reconcile.
Did they have very different expectations of how and feelings about how to raise the kid?
Oh, totally. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
what's
think
the
their ambitions for him were very different. Yeah.
Okay, so what's their
I think the guy who's still living, whose body he's in, well, I mean, he's not the one you read, right? You read the ghost. The ghost wants him to take over the city,
Oh goodness.
and sit, on the eagle throne, that
Which
has
might
not
well
been
be why he tragically died in unexpected circumstances.
right.
That's not a ambition that leads to a long life and good health.
It is definitely not. So
And,
yeah.
and what does so hang on, is it did you say that the living one wants him to sit on the eagle throne, or the dead one?
No, it's the ghost. It's
Oh,
the ghost
okay,
who wants him to
understood.
sit
And
on
what does the living one want? Do I get a sense of that?
Do you get that many questions?
No, I only get one, but since I'm reading two people, I figured I could apply the same question to both. If it's an amalgamated mass of spirit, perhaps my necromantic senses could tell me.
That's bullshit, but also it's like bullshit, so I'm inclined to reward it.
I'm a terrible necromancer. Give me just a little.
Of course.
This is an example of when a really good player plays a really terrible necromancer, I think, is what that was.
Here's my thought, Judd.
Yeah.
I think the living patriarch isn't from the city.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Like, I think is came in the way that, like, noble houses in different cities will, like,
Yeah.
marry out. And I think, like, his great ambition at this point is like, cool, I'm going to take my kid, we're going to liquidate as much of the wealth as we can, we're going to leave the city, we're going to fuck off back home, and we're going to set ourselves up with all of our cushy wealth.
That sounds dope, and obviously the ghostly father is preventing that through acts of depression and general possession and malaise.
A lot of conflict between these
All
two.
right, all right, awesome.
A lot of anger, tree pruning is what's happening here.
So then I guess what I'm going to say during my seance is that I'm going to tell the boy that there are two paths forward.
Well, let's hold up, because there is the miss
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
to address, right? You're being calculating, not empathetic, and they can tell.
Absolutely.
And so I think they catch you looking. The two husbands in the one body.
Awesome.
They like, you're like just like idly looking out the window at them, and they like turn, like, catch your eye and
intently, like, with supernatural eyes.
Yeah.
It's pretty
and,
clear.
Like, yeah, and they, like, even the living husband, I think, perceives something about your, like, mercenary and insincere, intention about being here. And the dead husband can see you doing your spooky
Of course.
necromancy bullshit. And so I think the husbands begin, like, storming, like, inside the house. So, like, you've got a couple minutes.
Great.
And then you have a very strong sense that you will be interrupted.
I absolutely tell the boy that there are two paths before him and he must choose. And I start my spiel, by the way, Thief, this is where I'm passing it off to you. I hope that I've given you enough of a fuss that you can steal whatever the heck you want, including that bird. Yeah, I'm going to tell the boy that there are two paths before him. One of them involves actually, like, challenging the Eagle Throne to a duel. The other one involves departing the city and never finding the city above in the clouds, but living a peaceful and happy life. And it is up to the boy to know which sort of death he wants, right? But like that's where the path is, right? Like that's the fates that I'm offering. So if it's cool, I'd like to pass it off to the thief and see what they were up to while I was doing my spooky readings before I get into trouble.
Oh, for sure, stealing everything that I possibly can. I'm just trying to find out which move that is. Oh, I think that, let's see. So I can do a thing violently, physically, maybe with discipline to perform thieves and performers sleight. Yeah, I think it might be with thieves and performers sleight. It's the filch the thing again.
Yes, is this the filch, the furtive knot, or the fourth stone?
I think it is, yeah. Sleights that make objects disappear and stuff.
No,
I
but
think
Lauren, but which one?
Oh.
Any given trick is presumably only one of those things.
No, it can be all three. I believe the filch is also the fourth stone.
I feel like we should roll the dice and figure out which one it is in retrospect.
That seems like that seems like
Good
a
luck.
bad call.
Okay, so I'll roll a d6 and see how my attempt at stealing things go, I suppose.
And Lauren, are you also in the room with the Necromancer? Are you still in the
good
corridor?
question.
Like, where are you looking for things to steal?
Oh, I had the idea of like trying to like snoop into bedrooms while people were distracted and kind of like going throughout the house to rooms that looked a bit lucrative under the guise of night with my parrot on my shoulder. So I'm all for getting potentially caught red-handed with this parrot. Oh, I got a 1.
No, you're a pro.
I'm totally fine. I'll just pull up the. So I get at least 1, and then as many as my roll allows, which is 1. So I just get 1. But I think this is again a thing. Let's see.
What is it you steal? What is the act that you're trying to perform? Is it to fill your pockets with like small things? Is it to steal one big thing? Is it what is the actual act of thievery you're attempting to do?
I think it's one big thing, and I think it's a thing that I don't realize is big until I've stolen it, because I think it's like some kind of like griffin with like 8 garnet eyes, and they're all like sort of studded in the statue, and I'm like, that looks really expensive, but I don't think about the fact that like, you know, garnet and jewels and blood is like really special to like this place, and just like, that's gold and it has a lot of gems, but I think it's like actually quite special to like the bud and like the stone of this place, and it has a lot of like sort of sentimental value to it that I'm unaware of.
Yeah, it was the sigil of the family of the ancient family that had this house before, that they took it from.
Oh, what is this? The 8-eyed griffin? Okay.
Yeah, a jewel for each sort of house within like this family kind of thing.
I see.
It's the same room where they keep the trophies that they win in the honor jewels.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Not the money. That's downstairs, but just like the trophies.
They're all feathers that are taken from those outfits.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh boy, you get to kidnap people's ancestors. God, that's fucked up.
Oh dear.
Dueling and its concept is a little
High stakes.
All right.
What did Mark Twain say? If someone challenged me to a duel, I would take them out to an alley and bludgeon them over the head like a civilized human being rather than duel them. Something like that.
That's some wisdom from Mr. Clemens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I steal, like the sort of the parrot, and like keeping one hand over its beak, like shush, like don't say anything, and we'll like under one arm have this sort of griffin with eight
Do you
giant
attempt to
eyes.
depart before I do?
I think I would.
Because like the guards are not gonna miss a giant statue under one arm. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe I'll sort of like dump out a window into like some sod or something, and then just sort of try and discreetly depart and pick up the statue like around the corner.
I
think you have a move for that.
I
think that's an exertion.
Yeah.
I think that is.
Because I think, Lauren, the complicating factor may be that I think the room that you are in has one door and one window, and the door opens back out into the corridor, and the window opens onto the wall of the villa that adjoins the wall of the city that hangs out over the edge of a cliff.
Oh, good.
Neat.
Do you have you have a move for being acrobatic and nimble, don't you?
I totally do.
Yeah. If this was anyone else, you would just have to submit yourself to circumstance. But thankfully,
Nice.
Yes, I guess this would be I guess. Hang on, which move is this? Physically, violently, with grace and calm.
leap and defy to fall.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the one.
Yes, leap and defy fall. Heck yeah.
Good luck. What are you trying to hit as a number? I think you're pretty good at this, but I don't remember.
I think leap and defy fall is with nimble, but I'll just
That makes sense.
double check. Oh yes, that should be nimble plus patient, which I think for me is a 3. Yes, that's a 3. So it's a 50-50 that I I make it out the window with this.
Good luck.
Actually, so hold up. I think first you have to describe your intended course, and we'll figure out how difficult it's going to be.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So
It looks like you only have to roll if it's like the middle condition of like possible but dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe in this case, it's like I like grab the statue. I look to the one door, and I'm like, okay, I really cannot abscond through this door with the statue. I see the window, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then I hear footsteps. I'm like, oh shit, I need to have it like right now. And I think like secure a chair to like the sort of like window ledge, and then like attach a rope to it, tighten the knot, and then just like go out the window and hope that no one like notices my presence.
Nice.
And you're just going all the way down the cliff?
All the way down the cliff.
Oh boy. Oh dear.
All right.
All right, John.
I feel like this needs a roll.
Well, yeah, John.
I think so. Yeah.
Do we think this? Which of the 3 statements do we think this is?
I
What are our choices?
Our choices are: dramatic as it seems, it'll be safe and easy for an acrobat like me. It's possible, but it'll test my strength, balance, and/or endurance, and I might fail, fall, or strand myself. Or it's simply impossible. No human creature could do it.
If it's impossible,
It's not impossible.
I could try for like
Yeah,
a rolling window and be like, okay, I'll just
Yeah,
jump down like 2 stories.
I think it's going to strain her acrobatics. I think
Yeah,
it's
it's not safe and easy, but it's not impossible either.
Okay.
yeah.
Rad. I will roll a d6 and
Good luck.
It's a terrible idea, is what it is. But yeah.
Oh, I got a 2. I do it.
There we go.
So
If I can add some flavor, Lauren, I think
Oh, yeah, go for
as you're like getting the chair set up and the footsteps are outside, the bird makes the noise of a door like ventriloquism
Yes.
the sound of a door opening like on the other side of the corridor or something, and buys you a little bit more time. Because of course, if the guards come into the room and move the chair while you're still halfway down the rope, like it's over.
I love that so much.
That's amazing.
The bird buys you some breathing room.
That's amazing.
Oh, totally feed it a piece of meat or something. Like
And I think for some reason, when you get to the bottom, maybe you're somehow reminded of when you left the Necromancer, with the bill at that tavern those months ago. No idea why. I mean, whether or not you understand how those things line up. is up to you.
But yeah, how do you get down? How do you get down, Lauren?
Oh yeah, I think I can find invisible handhold and foothold. So it's like one of those sort of like brick and mortar like style descents, but it's like if, and I think it was sort of built in mind to like people who could like sort of ascend these kinds of structures. But I think with that great thieving, I've been able to sort of like figure out how to like descend and like sort of latch onto with like great finger grip strength into like some nooks and crannies and like find these invisible footholds like that the weather has caused into these cracks in the mortar and then I descend safely with my bird. And perhaps even like there is like the chair does like it's knocked off and it sort of like spirals down. The gods are like, oh thank God we like fixed them, and I'm like clinging like this like into the side of the wall like oh God, and then manage to sort of descend the rest of the way.
I love that the bird is now my bird. I like how quickly that transition happened.
Do you have a name for the bird, or are you still calling them Chamberlain?
Oh, I think Chamberlain is a very good bird name. I think Gigi Chamberlain for like is good.
I don't know that the bird approves. You can call the bird that, but I don't think the bird agrees that that's its name.
I love it.
Oh my God.
When the bird is ready,
meanwhile at the seance,
the bird will tell you its true name.
Oh. Yes. I will ask the Necromancer, like, please tell me this bird's true name. I feel really bad for calling it Gigi Chamberlain.
The bird can talk. Like, it's a parrot.
Totally. Every time I say Gigi Chamberlain, it just bites me, you know?
It says no and then bites you.
Yeah.
Have you considered not saying that?
Good point.
No. I see. This tells me everything we need to know about our relationship. How's the seance going? Are we Gucci?
Judd, you tell me, but like I feel like with what we know of this young man, when he is told, two paths lie before you. One of them leads to a death a long time from now in a city far from your home, quiet and peaceful in bed. The other leads either to bloody conquest or to a worthy death in battle in your city. And you're like, I feel like I know which one he wants to pick.
Right. I think he starts putting on his dueling shit. Doesn't he?
Like, immediately.
Oh, I see. He may want to issue the challenge first. Okay.
You have to be wearing the dueling outfit to issue the challenge.
No problem. Of course, my bad. I missed that as my research. But does anything happen? Do the fathers appear and cause a scene, or can I depart without much further ado? Collect my payment and vanish anon.
Well, normally it would be the Chamberlain who'd pay you.
The bird?
No, the actual Chamberlain.
Oh, I see.
Great.
I'm not committed.
Hates that bird, by the way. Hates him.
I think he was once told, like, the dead warlike husband once meanly nicknamed the bird that because it reminded him of, like, the shrill tone of the actual Chamberlain's voice. Like, the whole thing was just, like, a kind of cruel, kind of extended insult.
Amazing. Will the Chamberlain...
He bought the bird in a market because the shrill sound of its voice reminded him of his Chamberlain.
Wow, these are just some terrible people. I am glad to be robbing them blind.
So you did it.
Necromancer, I keep telling you that, but you never listen.
I don't know. I guess that's not the kind of family that I'm from.
I snarfed the wine. I snarfed it. There was it.
Do you need a break, Judd?
No, I'm okay.
All right. Cool. So let me ask. So is the Chamberlain gonna pay me, or is there gonna be a fuss here?
I think if you can get to the Chamberlain is gonna pay you.
What's the obstacle?
I think the problem is that in the, heading down the corridor, outside this room is two husbands in one body, still with their gardening They're gardening. I don't think it was
Finger knives.
Yeah, they're gardening finger knives.
I see. Cool. What are they planning to do with me?
Ooh, it's a good question.
Because that'll determine how I react. Because if they come towards me in menacing fashion, we're gonna play a different hand.
Intense.
Yeah, of course.
I wonder if, like, Judd, this is maybe the first time yet in the possession period that the two of them have actually agreed upon a course of action.
Oh, goodness me.
Interesting.
And what's the
Because
course of action?
Because they're both like, this, like, charlatan is taking advantage of my son and trying to lead him astray.
Right.
And so they are both united in their intention to, like, throw you out of the house?
Come at me, I'm about to cause rift between your intentions here. Husbands.
Husbandos.
Yeah, husbandos. I got them. Yeah, let's cool. Yeah, if they come and you know they brandish knives, I think
they attempt to lay hands upon you. I think the goal is to, like, you know, the way that they just want to, like, put their hands on your shoulders and dig their talons in a little and frog march you out.
I think
That's the goal.
Yeah, I think that as they come towards me, I draw myself to my full height. I look directly at them, and I speak to the ghost, not the living. And I speak with my voice echoing in the netherworld, with my senses open and my ghostly tutor at my side. And I say, I just tell him. I tell him outright. I'm like, whatever you may think that you're doing right now, like, hold yourself. I have given the boy the choice that the two of you could not, you know, place before him, frankly. And I speak to the ghost, and I say, I believe that the boy will choose your path. And if the two of you agree that that is incorrect together, then you should perhaps speak to the child in honest voice and with unified front, instead of taking out your wrath upon me. I have absolutely no moves to, like, actually...
Good speech.
Yeah, it's a good
Great
speech.
speech.
What do they do? I don't have any moves or exertions that deal with this.
I think they agree and they throw you out.
Yeah.
Oh, das Boot.
I'm with John.
I think you absolutely made a great point, and it
And they don't care.
and no, it's not that they don't care. It's just that it means that they should kick you out and talk to the boy. Like,
Yeah. Step one is this is a family matter.
yeah.
I still need to get
Give
paid.
us our privacy, please. Do you though?
I will make a point of saying that. It may not stop them. I'm just saying. If you would like, I can submit myself to circumstance and we can see if I get paid.
Sure.
All right.
You
So
want? Yeah, sure.
So the way this move works is this is basically like a fortune roll, right? Like, submit yourself to circumstances. I allow you folks to dictate what the outcomes are. If I roll successfully, I get to say certain things. Like, I can say, I get away with my dignity. I can say,
get away with my pay.
I get away with my pay. Right. So let's make that roll. If it doesn't go well, then I hope that my thief doesn't give away all our money. So let's take a look here. Here we go.
The thief just refuses to sell the dope statue.
So, unfortunately, submitting to circumstance is a cunning plus virtuous thing. And my virtuous is 2, but my cunning is 0, so I need a 2 or less. I do not get it. It is a bad day. So I am not getting paid.
I think they just throw you out.
Yeah, on a miss, choose one, but it's I can't keep blank.
I think I can't.
What definitely can't you keep, Stras?
I think it's my dignity. I think these two patriarchs absolutely, well, the ghost patriarch and the real patriarch, just manhandle me and toss me out.
Yeah, they throw you in a garbage pile in front of the house.
Does that feel like? Yeah, I think that's what happens.
Yeah, and I think there is like, you know, there is like some viperous insults that like fall from their tongues as they fling you down into the garbage pile, which a number of people on the street outside their home like hear. And I think to add insult to injury, they spit something about like if you want your pay so badly, and then just like toss like some insulting handful of pocket change like at
Understood.
your
Nice.
feet.
Some fitters float down. They're like.
I was thinking the
"Perfect."
exact same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm reminded of James Caan in Godfather when he broke that camera and then like he like threw a bunch of money at the photographer and walked away. Like yeah, but less, like more like just
Yeah, I think they say for the pigeon, all the coin you're worth, and then they just
Ooh.
toss down like
Ah.
70
nice.
cents, and then just like turn around and the doors of the house like swing closed behind.
I think I do something awesome, but it's absolute bullshit. But I dust my robes off. I stand up. I make some grandiose gestures, and I say, "Very well. If you will not take my omens in kindness, let me give you a curse." And I pronounce, I'm like, your house will lose its greatest treasure. The voices of your house will go unheard, and your son will die in horrific blood. And then I just, and walk away.
Nice. Cut to like the thief with the bird that's like,
The thief is like, so, what will you pay for this house's greatest treasure?
So is one
Give you
is
a
one
house.
good or is one bad? Like, tell me how the dice
One is
work.
good, one is the best.
Okay.
6 is the worst, because there are no stats that go to 6, as far as I know. Unless you're a wizard casting in their seclusion with a maximum magic stat and a +1 bonus, which you can do, but I am nowhere near. So.
Got it.
Yeah, it's my understanding is you want as close to the stat as possible while still being under.
But 1 is always a
Got
guaranteed
it.
success.
Yeah, but it just won't give you many picks. Is kind of like the cost of that.
Cool.
Also, Necromancer, do you meet me like do I meet you like at the bottom of the scabard chute? Do we meet like a tavern in town? Like how do we meet up again?
So
Or
I
is
think
this-
so this is how we do, right? Like we have like a campsite or something because we're basically poor because we're out of coin in an unknown city.
You have 70 cents.
But I
70 pigeons.
Thank you.
Oh, is that what the coppers are called? I see. They're pigeons because they have little pigeons on the back.
Or are they grains, maybe?
Oh,
Oh
grains.
yeah, grains is very good.
Oh. All right. But if the thief is successful, we picked out what inn we're going to if we make out like bandits. So, are you there?
Oh heck yeah!
Okay,
this
awesome.
time, like dinner's on me for a change.
So you're like, I gave 90% of this to the people, but I kept 10% for us, and I'm like, good enough.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think like totally. You read me
That
up.
is our tithe. Okay, so that's a great scene. Let me ask this. I show up. I still reek a little bit of garbage, and I go, I hope that you had a better day. And then I look at the end and I say, I'm guessing you had a better day. Is there a bird on the table?
Oh yeah, and that's when I'm like, totally. I think
Better
it sounds
day.
like
A better day. And it does a little dance.
Why is
Oh,
there
yeah.
a bird on our table?
Well, and then I think it has to like sort of poop at that point because some birds they have no like control over their sphincter.
They don't
And-
have sphincters, actually.
They don't
But
have
go on.
sphincters, yeah.
That's a special
Um,
thing we humans got.
And I think I feel like I don't know, like I feel I had to take it. Like I don't know what came over me, but it has to come with us. Like it was totally entrapped in there, and I know what came over me. But we've got a bird now, and it might be useful? Question mark.
It
Morgan,
lets out a trill and like hops over and like preens your hair,
Aw.
Phoebe.
Yeah,
And then
totally.
it turns and scowls at the necromancer and says, "Introed up, introed up."
See,
I-
we could use this could be useful. As long as we turn it
Chamberlain
on
will
the
pay
link.
you. The Chamberlain will pay you.
no, he actually didn't, Bird. The Chamberlain did not pay me.
He didn't. What happened?
Let's just say you had a better scam than I did. I actually told them the truth, and this is what it cost me. Lessons I need to learn. I say,
Never tell the truth to a noble.
Morgan, my good friend, I have only one thing to point out about this bird. It is not that we have a bird, it is that you have a bird.
Oh, give it some time if I warm up to you. Like, you know, it's pretty cool bird.
Queens again.
Chamberlain's a good bird.
Oh,
Even,
this is
like,
gonna be a
little-
thing in this game, isn't it? All
That
right,
has
cool.
given all of us a great gift.
Do we want to cut the scene there?
I think it sounds good. Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to tack on an epilogue to the scene,
Go for it.
Ooh.
which is the next morning. The two of you come down for breakfast, which is I think some kind of like spiced meal, and like a little fruit salad because it's the height of summer and all the fruit's really good. And there is a great buzz and gossip and commotion in the common room of the inn because something has happened overnight. There was a challenge
I have a spotting circumstance
to
for
the
this.
one who owned to the one who previously held the Eagle Throne, and now it would seem in an unexpected turn of events, young Solomon Shrike is the new leader of the city.
Dang.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because I know what the next spawning circumstance I want is. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Why don't you say it, and then we'll stop for a break for a second.
Sure. So the spawning circumstance is. Hang on, I had it picked out. Ah, here we go. Tell your volunteers that we are performing in a busy thoroughfare, and the master of the city has taken exception to our presence and our performance.
Oh, heck yeah.
Begin play when the master of the city, flanked by a number of armed guards and eager souls, approaches you.
Nice.
So actually, give me a second. I was not actually ready for a break, so just give me one.
I'm just like,
Yeah. I think that's perfect. It's a perfect way to start.
Let me
Very
just-
good.
I love it.
Love it.
And
Love it.
all right.
Yeah.
See you folks in just a couple minutes.